My social media timeline is often full of code screenshots that looks like this meme from Reddit. These short snippets of code can be a good exercise to practice how to approach learning. So I went ahead and typed all this in and created a GitHub repo if you want to follow along. So what's the correct answer that would get you a free drink? Well, that depends. Now, technically, this code doesn't output anything. There isn't any console log statement. So you could argue that with the bartender, but it probably won't get you a free drink. Let's go ahead and fix that. Now, once you do that, you realize that the output of the code is undefined.secretword:parameters. Now, you probably get the drink if you tell the bartender that the secret word is parameters. You may have some arguments about that undefined statement. What if the bartender mentioned that you needed that undefined statement? And why is that even happening? The culprit is on line 1. This would be better if you made an assignment with the declaration. Now the output looks weird with the period, so you can tell the bartender that this is definitely code from a junior developer, but that might get you kicked out of the bar. You probably noticed that the developer is using var instead of the newer let or const. Which one should you really use? To me, it doesn't really matter as long as you understand how they are different. The value of the your drink variable doesn't change in the code. So I guess if I was pressed, I'd use a const, but it's practically irrelevant to the result and a bit of a red herring. The next bit of code is a function that takes in a value and returns a reverse string. Now this is a pretty common pattern, but I was wondering if there's an easier way to do this. Splitting into empty strings from the parameter seems a bit weird. I did a quick search on MDN for the reverse method, and I remembered that it's really meant for arrays, and that's why we're splitting this string first. The split function will take our string and convert it into an array of letters. Then we reverse the array, and then we join them back together. It's a little bit cumbersome, and I did a search on Stack Overflow, which didn't seem to help. Although this last idea looked sort of interesting, using the spread operator here instead of splitting the string, I'm not sure that's any clearer than what we're already doing. We could try to modernize this method by rewriting it to use arrow functions. I like more descriptive variable names, so I'm going to change this S variable to something like my string. That does look nicer, but I'm always wondering if the function declaration syntax wasn't clearer for something like this. Let's take a look at the object definition. It starts off with 3 strings. Now the second one calls our previous method. I wonder if I could just move the functionality of that method inside the object. It's only being used once, so that sort of makes sense, but you can't really use the method anywhere else. So I thought I might create the reverse as a method of the object instead. The reason I can't use the arrow function here is that it doesn't work well inside an object. That's because arrow functions don't have a proper understanding of the this keyword. Now I need to update the call on the request method to use my new reverse method. Now I can delete the arrow function and also the transformation right here. Now at this point, I have to be wondering what my goal is here. I think this type of problem that isn't particularly stressful and where there isn't really a correct answer is more of an exercise on how to look at problems can help you become a better developer. And maybe that's the point.